Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
The year 1949 witnessed a seismic shift in the technological sphere, the dawn of a new era heralded by the publication of a groundbreaking paper 1949 John Bardeen, Walter Brattain, William Shockley Physical Principles Involved in the Construction of Transistors. This seminal work, born from the crucible of Bell Telephone Laboratories, marked a decisive break from the vacuum tube behemoths that had, until then, reigned supreme in electronic amplification. Its ramifications would cascade throughout the ensuing decades, fundamentally reshaping communication, computation, the very fabric of modern life. Unraveling the genesis of the transistor necessitates understanding the existing intellectual landscape. The quest for a solid-state amplifying device was in the air, a logical culmination of several converging streams of scientific inquiry. The burgeoning field of semiconductor physics, spearheaded by individuals like Alan Wilson at the University of Cambridge and the theoretical contributions of Felix Bloch and Rudolf Peierls in Germany, provided the foundational understanding of electronic behavior within crystalline materials. These physicists meticulously explored the nature of electrons and holes, concepts absolutely essential for comprehending the transistor's functionality. Wilson's pioneering work in 1931, which identified semiconductors as materials with electrical conductivity between that of a conductor and an insulator, laid the groundwork for the later discoveries. Bardeen, Brattain, and Shockley themselves drew upon this theoretical wealth. They were acutely aware of earlier attempts to create solid-state amplifiers, the limitations inherent in these earlier efforts, often hampered by the unpredictable behavior of point-contact rectifiers, and the inherent fragility of materials, spurred the Bell Labs team to a novel approach. The very architecture of the research environment itself was crucial. Bell Labs, with its culture of collaborative research and access to cutting-edge resources, facilitated the kind of rapid progress that an individual, however brilliant, may have found impossible. The intellectual synergy between these three individuals, each with their unique strengths and perspectives, fueled a creative combustion, leading to insights that transcended the limitations of individual disciplines. The paper, Physical Principles Involved in the Construction of Transistors, presented not one, but two distinct transistor configurations. The first was the point-contact transistor, a device constructed by Brattain and Bardeen. This first iteration involved the application of two closely spaced point contacts to the surface of a semiconductor crystal, typically germanium. It was a relatively crude instrument, requiring careful manipulation of the materials and delicate alignment. The underlying principle hinged on the control of current injection into the semiconductor. A small current applied to one contact, the emitter, could modulate a larger current flowing between the other contact, the collector, and the substrate. This demonstrated the capability of amplification, and provided the initial validation of their revolutionary concept. The second configuration described in the paper was Shockley's junction transistor. Superior in many ways to the point-contact model, this design heralded a more robust and reliable transistor. It built upon Shockley's theoretical understanding of p-n junctions interfaces between regions of a semiconductor with differing electrical properties. He grasped that a small change in a voltage applied to the base region of the transistor could orchestrate a much larger shift in the current flowing between the emitter and the collector. This action, in essence, constituted amplification. Shockley's work, though more complex, was the precursor to the junction transistors that would soon dominate the electronics industry. The mathematical underpinnings of these devices are best articulated using concepts from solid-state physics. The behavior of charge carriers, i.e. electrons and holes, within a semiconductor crystal can be modeled by solving the Schrödinger equation, a fundamental equation of quantum mechanics. The solutions of the Schrödinger equation are governed by the potential landscape within the semiconductor material and the doping concentrations. These distributions of donor atoms which produce extra free electrons and acceptor atoms which produce extra holes profoundly alter the conductivity and electronic properties of the semiconductor. The movement of electrons and holes within these potential gradients, often described using concepts from drift and diffusion, are the very mechanisms by which the transistor exerts its control over the flow of current. The paper, though avoiding lengthy mathematical derivations, meticulously outlined the principles behind these processes, providing a clear exposition of the underlying physics. The immediate impact of the transistor was nothing short of transformative. Earlier applications were primarily in telephone transmission. The transistor permitted the replacement of bulky, expensive vacuum tubes, drastically reducing the size, power consumption, and fragility of amplifiers used in communication networks. It allowed for significant reduction in the size of switching devices. The consequences were profound. Telephone networks could expand exponentially, accommodating an ever-growing volume of calls. Furthermore, the transistor facilitated a new era in miniaturization and reliability within other systems. The work of Bardeen, Brattain, and Shockley, however, was not immune to critique. Early transistors, especially the point-contact version, exhibited inherent instability. Their performance was highly sensitive to manufacturing variables and environmental conditions. Early devices were more temperature-sensitive. The initial models, while groundbreaking, were not perfect. These limitations, however, were swiftly overcome. Advances in materials science and manufacturing processes led to increasingly robust and reliable transistor designs. The invention prompted a whirlwind of technological development and refinements, driven by ongoing research and development efforts. The paper's reception was generally positive, although it took some time for its significance to be fully appreciated. The scientific community, initially cautious, soon recognized the profound implications of the invention. The Nobel Prize in Physics, awarded to Bardeen, Brattain, and Shockley in 1956, offered formal recognition of their extraordinary achievement. The award cemented their place in history and further amplified the influence of the invention. The subsequent evolution of transistor technology is a narrative of relentless refinement and exponential growth. Shockley's junction transistor, with its solid-state architecture, became the dominant form, quickly surpassing the point-contact design. Integrated circuits, or microchips, represent a pinnacle of this evolution. These chips, which incorporate millions, and now billions, of transistors on a single silicon wafer, have ushered in an unprecedented era of computing power, miniaturization, and affordability. The very devices we use daily, from smartphones to computers, directly embody the legacy of Bardeen. The influence of their work on individual researchers and subsequent scientific endeavors remains undeniable. The advent of the transistor sparked a cascade of new research. Individuals like Gordon Teal and Jack Kilby, working independently, contributed significantly to the development of the integrated circuit. Kilby's invention, in particular, demonstrated that entire electronic circuits could be fabricated on a single semiconductor chip. Teal's expertise in growing high-quality single-crystal silicon was critical to the production of reliable transistors. Their contributions, along with numerous others, built upon Shockley, Brattain and Bardeen's foundational unders. The work of Bardeen, Brattain, and Shockley exerted a long-lasting influence. Further research into semiconductor physics and materials science has expanded our knowledge of the solid state. Individuals are still working to improve transistor designs. The exploration of new materials, such as graphene and other two-dimensional materials, promises to push the boundaries of transistor technology further. The dream of ever smaller, more efficient electronics has its roots in those early experiments at Bell Labs. The legacy of physical principles involved in the construction of transistors is one of scientific brilliance, transformative ingenuity, and enduring impact. The paper provided the initial framework to understanding amplification through solid-state devices. Their design triggered a revolution, enabling the modern world to exist. The very foundations of modern technology are built upon the conceptual and practical insights contained within this significant scientific contribution. It stands as a testament to the power of collaborative research, of fundamental scientific curiosity, and of the transformative potential of human intellect. The paper represents a moment when a new path was forged.
We really appreciate you tuning in to this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.